Life's a trip. Hey guys, Coach Victor here from the Thai Boxing Institute of Mar Vista, California. And we are heading out to Tulum, Mexico for Jungle Fight 3 this weekend. We have Coach Jeannie on deck. Quick turnaround from Birmingham, Alabama. Was hoping to have a little bit more time off, but we were offered a matchup. So I figured there couldn't be a worse place to be than Tulum, Mexico. We have an opponent from Mexico City. I'm not too sure what is going on with them. From our research, it seems to be a fair fight. They're both evenly matched up, so hoping there won't be any hoping this won't be a disaster. This is Coach Jeannie's first time fighting internationally. I spoke about this on Instagram post maybe a few weeks back. There was a time like last month I was sitting in my place meditating and was just kind of overwhelmed with this feeling. It's hard to explain, but I guess happiness. It was just like a deep admiration for our athletes and how brave they are. You know, Aaron and Jeannie, they're just so willing to fight whoever is put up against them. They fight out of love and abundance versus, you know, me. When I was fighting out of fear, emotion, and anger. So I'm just incredibly grateful to have a team of athletes that have that sort of attitude with competition. My experience with Mexico has been just cornering someone in Rosarito maybe 10 years ago. My friend Sheldon fought out there. And then when I was in Mexico City, was it 2019? Hanging out and watching some Muay Thai fights there. But that's as far as my experience with Mexico's Muay Thai scene is. So really excited to go and check it out. Excited to see Coach Jeannie perform. Have her on a regular fighting schedule. And we'll see how it goes. We'll be joined by Aaron. Aaron is going to be my second corner person. And we'll be out there for a few days. So see y'all on the other side. Here we are, fight day in beautiful Tulum, Mexico, joined by Aaron.
Hi.
Of the Thai Boxing Institute of Mar Vista, California. After a very, very rough 24 hours, we are preparing to go compete. Why was it rough? Man, shit just doesn't go right out here. Bunch of delayed flights. We didn't have a rental. They oversold the rental once we got here. And then trying to figure out how to get to Tulum from Cancun at like 9 p.m. I don't know. It's hard to prepare and think about like the outcomes of if things don't go wrong. I mean, at least I didn't prepare. I didn't have a plan B. I was just thinking, yeah, sure, you get there, your rental will be there, and then you're off. So just being at the airport, just trying to figure things out. Okay, do we pay for a taxi? Do we get a shared shuttle? Do we take the ADO, the ADO bus, right? And then you go and you ask one of the people there's like, hey, how much? And then you attempt to negotiate and bargain, and then just like that, 20 people swarm you and they're trying to negotiate and haggle with you a price on a taxi ride. So like after what seemed like maybe 8 hours of travel, tired, fatigued, and then now arriving without sort of an idea of how to get to Tulum, we still have to cut weight. We still have to cut weight and get to our Airbnb. And with that, we lost some time to be able to cut weight, and we had to do a pretty big weight cut the following day. And it was really difficult to see Jeannie power through that weight cut. But with all that said and done, we were able to weigh in, unfortunately, a little over what was the agreed weight, but everything turned out fine. All gratitude to our opponent that accepted. We're excited. We're hopeful and looking forward to this fight experience in Tulum. It's been a shit show overall. Like, just a lot of last minute changes, a lot of very unpredictable events, a lot of not knowing and letting go of control and accepting what it is. I think we've been too comfortable with everything being organized and going the way we would like it to. All right. See you guys on the other side. Ciao. Heavyweight champion. Life's a trip. Wow. All I can say is that Rumble in the Jungle, Tulum, Mexico, was a fucking trip. It was surreal. It did not feel like real life. The intensity of it, the being in an actual jungle, the heat, the mosquito bites, everything was a bit over the top. That had to have been one of the most stressful fight experiences I have had as a coach, right? And I can only imagine what Jeannie was going through. Like, everything that could go wrong went wrong with this fight camp and almost leading up to the fight itself. First of all, it's this huge risk to go to Mexico, to a foreign country, to compete, right? What is the risk? We had to pay for our way there. We didn't get flown out or anything. We didn't even get paid, right? So we have to buy airplane tickets, and then we have to pay for our lodging, our Airbnb, and then also pay for rental, pay for food, blah 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 blah, right? That is something that we are willing to do as a gym, and me as a coach, and then Jeannie as an athlete. We want to keep her on the schedule so as to be as active as possible. Man, like, the more you fight, the more comfortable you become with that environment, right? So it's like, if you're trying to compete, you should be competing as often as possible. If you have like long layoffs in between fights, just the nerves, the anxiousness, that those feelings are just a bit more intense in between fight camps if you're not competing regularly. Our goal, our objective, to be as active as possible, and sometimes that means taking these like little risky fights out in Mexico. Where do I begin with this experience? My God. Let's start even before we went to Mexico. I think we had 5 weeks to prepare for this. Jeannie's always sort of training, always in good shape, always going to conditioning. So for me, it's not like an issue to not be able to take a fight with a good 6 weeks of fight camp that we prefer. Okay, so a lot of what we do, a lot of what we focus on at TBI, whether it's from a business point of view or from a training point of view. And training can also be like competition, but even the way classes are organized, there's a lot of thought, there's a lot of pragmatism behind it. There's a lot of strategy, right? So for example, the way I run the gym, like the business side of it, I plan a lot. There's so much planning. The way the classes are ran, they're very organized, they're very structured. The way we time everything is very to the second. Like even the way we structure curriculum. Why do we do that? Why do we plan? Why is there strategy? Why are we so organized? Why not? That's just peace of mind. At least for me, I like structure, I like organization, and the way I like to operate is in that manner, right? So sometimes that can be to a fault, and I'll explain why later. In any case, we're prepared for this opponent with Jeannie. Okay, we watch some tape, we write out a training plan. And what's the training plan consist of? It's like the way we work pad work, specific techniques, combinations, the way our drilling looks, the way her sparring looks. That's how we prepare. She then 2 weeks before suffers a pretty bad injury, and at this point we basically have everything booked. And sure, we can. Okay, the way travel works right now too, it's you can at least get credit for things, right? So you're not completely out, right? That's still capital that's in limbo that can be used elsewhere. So rather than like get a refund where you get flight credit, rather than get an Airbnb refund, you get Airbnb credit. Sure, that might be used in the future, and I think they give you a year before you can use it. All right, that's fine and all, right? But I would rather much prefer get money back. In any case. So 2 weeks out before the fight, Coach Jeannie sustains a pretty bad injury, and it's dubious as if she is going to be able to compete or not. So the question I always pose to them is, do you still want to do this? For me, do you still want to do this does not imply giving me a right or wrong answer. It's just, I need to know whether you want to do this or not. If you don't want to do this, that's fine. All right, cool. We got at least a good 2 weeks of personal training time, and hopefully that helped you as an athlete. You still want to do this? All right, great. Or are you saying you still want to do this because you still want to do this? Okay, so in our fight camp video, and I'll put the link in below, I talk about two types of people that want to compete, right? Those that want to tell people that they fight, and those that want to fight. The difference between those two is heart. What is heart? Heart to me is two things: virtue, right? Integrity and courage. Are you telling me the truth? Are you telling yourself the truth? You and your own heart are going to know whether you're going to be able to perform, whether you're going to go in there and do the goddamn job, right? Not just go in there and survive, not just go in there and get your ass kicked and be okay with that, not go in there and freeze, but to go in there and fight and be competitive and hopefully maybe win. I need to see performance that is competitive. I need you to try to win. Heart to me is also your soul. Like, you, deep in your heart, deep in your soul, you're going to know whether you're telling the truth. That to me is heart. And in this whole situation, Jeannie displayed a ton of heart. It's like, okay, all right, you're injured. Everything we worked on, we can't do anymore. So fuck, okay. Let's keep going. Let's keep doing this. So there we were, landing in Tulum. Like I mentioned before, they overbooked our fucking car rental. I'm sitting there trying to figure out how to get to Tulum. Our flights were delayed. Everything was delayed. Our structure, our organization, our timing. We're sitting at the airport. No internet. Slow internet. The taxis, the shuttle drivers, as soon as they hear you trying to negotiate with one, they flock to you like mosquitoes. And it's just incredibly difficult to be able to think while people are just constantly trying to buzz you to negotiate to get you to pay for a ride. If my face is showing concern, chances are there's some shit going on, right? So for me as a coach, I have to be as stoic as possible. So I think in that time I was just kind of just bothered. And that goes towards this whole situation of organization, in that sometimes it's to a fault. And then I go and think like, okay, should I have had a plan B? Okay, I had an idea of a shuttle that can take us from the airport to Tulum, right? It's called the ADO, the Auto. Thankfully, Ryan Rutherford, who is a good friend of ours, Muay Harry, has been out in Tulum, and I was able to reach him, and he was able to kind of get the schedule and kind of guide us and help us out through that whole event and get us to Tulum. We were delayed leaving the airport, desperate times, desperate measures. I go, hey, Jeannie, start changing into your sweatsuit because you got to start cutting weight. Gets geared up. Mind you, it's probably like 85 degrees in the middle of the night. We get on the bus, start cutting weight. It's a 2.5 hour ride from the Cancun airport to Tulum. We get back to our place so late. So on top of not being able to have the appropriate amount of time to cut weight, one starts their weight cut the night before, like you do half then and half later. And that's in the advanced stages of competition. If you're within like the first 3 fights, you shouldn't be cutting that much weight anyways. This is also like my first time being with Jeannie while she cuts weight. Most of the time it's always the group of cohorts that are also cutting weight alongside with them. So it's almost like solidarity. But in this instance, it's just her and I in the Airbnb, heat up. She's double sauna suit, in the blankets, on top of towels, and just me monitoring her and just, kind of watching her suffer. And I was, meditating and praying for the best. And, as a coach, it's kind of hard to hear someone that you hold very dearly to your heart have to go through all this. She had a huge weight cut. It was hard. It was tough. Fortunately, we were able to fight. We get to the weigh-in. We meet her opponent. Her opponent weighs slightly under. Jeannie weighs slightly over. Not a big deal. Her opponent was game. Man, wow. Like, her opponent, her brother is, I think, like a Mexico's WBC Muay Thai champion at 135, as well as I think the triumphant Muay Thai champion at 135. Fucking good, real good, no slouch. His younger sister was Jeannie's opponent, also very good, not a slouch. It was hard to find anything on her, whether film or record, right? So we were almost just going into this with the blind trust of Ryan from Pu'u Muay Thai as a matchmaker and as Eddie, the promoter, in that everything would be pretty fair. But that's not to say Jeannie is not game. So even getting to the weigh-ins, like everything about this event was just so informal, but they were fucking real fights. Then again, this goes back to what we have been experiencing like in the last couple of months in regards to our own competition, in that like we were used to such organization from like IFMA standards out in Abu Dhabi, everything. Okay, you weigh in at this time, you weigh in with these people, you have to be right on weight, everything has to be perfect. You fight the next day, you fight at this time, be prepared, be ready, have all your equipment, etc. Here it was like, okay, well, you guys are close to weight. Why not? Fuck it. We had settled on like 3 2-minute rounds. The day of the fight comes on. Hey, you guys are going to fight 3-minute rounds. And that's fine. You know, the way I see it too is like the confidence I have in Jeannie and like the amount of ring time we're able to get out of this. So fight day came and man, like could not believe the ring is in a hostel. The fight itself is just, you know, we're in the jungle. It's hot, it's steaming, we're covered with mosquito bites. It's intense. Wow. The amount of passion behind all this, right? If you don't know, Mexican culture is a very passionate culture. They're fighters. They don't give a fuck. Right? Fights were fucking nuts. Fights were nuts. All of it though, very, very, very even, very well matched. It seemed like a lot of the Mexican fighters don't cut weight, whereas a lot of the more Western fighters did cut weight. So there was that. We were the 19th fight, so it's just like 3 or 4 hours waiting around to get in there to fight. Jeannie wins by TKO second round. Her opponent's corner threw in the towel. From the little that I recall, from what I remember, it was, in my opinion, a safe fight for both of them. There was a lot of clinching. Jeannie did really well in the clinch. There was a few things I didn't like that she did outside of the clinch. Her opponent, extremely capable, very fast, very skilled, very game. But I think Jeannie's strength outmatched hers and sort of overwhelmed her. Man, there were also like karchwek fights. If you don't know what karchwek is, it's just like how Muay Thai used to be fought, right? It's a bounded fist, it's hand wraps, and then ropes around the hand wraps. So that was fucking cool. That was fucking badass. And then the day came and went, and we were done. It didn't feel like we did much. You know, it's just like the biggest struggle was getting from the airport to our lodging and the weight cut. Fuck. But once we were in there, settled in, you know, Jeannie was able to perform really, really well. So I was happy for her. She showed a lot of courage, a lot of tenacity, a lot of grit, a lot of follow through, and that's just something that I love to see, right, from anyone. As far as Tulum is Tulum. God damn, guys! Like, if you get a chance to go to Tulum. If I didn't mention, right, I was there last 5 years ago, just hanging out, training Muay Thai, going to the cenotes, to the playa. We didn't get a chance to see any cenotes this time, but we were able to hang out at the beach. Got a ton of good training in at Tulum Muay Thai. If you can, guys, please, if you're in Tulum, go to Tulum Muay Thai. Eddie Farrell is a phenomenal coach, a phenomenal instructor, and the camp was it's good vibes, man. We had a blast training there, and as always, like, thank you to everyone that was helping us out. Eddie Farrell, Brooke Farrell, Ryan Rutherford, Ryan from Pu'u, Santa Barbara. We met a lot of cool people. We had a lot of fun, ate a lot of good food. You know, like, why do we do this? Like, why not? These moments that we were experiencing, those are just going to be like one-time moments. We'll never be able to experience anything like that again. This last weekend was a great weekend for both Jeannie and I, and you know, I'm just very grateful for her, for being who she is, for being the athlete that she is, and for allowing me, for letting me to be her coach. I feel like we both grew from this experience immensely, and that's kind of what life is about, right? It's like, fuck it. And that is it. TBI goes to Tulum. If you found this video entertaining, hit that subscribe button, click that like, leave me a comment, let me know if you've trained at Tulum Muay Thai. If you've been to Tulum, tell me what you think. If If you want to support the channel, you want to support the gym, you want to support the athletes, do a few things. You can hit us up, add us on Instagram, go to tbimerch.com. Thank you all very much for watching. Thank you to our community, our supporters, our sponsors. None of what we have experienced could be possible without your help. All gratitude towards you guys. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.